here it is, the ROCCAT Vulcan 121 mechanical keyboard with brown switches. Hey everyone, Sounds Tech and Travel over here. Finally got my hands on this keyboard after a little couple of disasters from a certain online retailer. But this one has arrived safe and sound, and I finally got her unboxed, installed, and already been using it for just a handful of days already. And I did actually return the scheme here just to the default rainbow color that basically just comes with these keyboards and mice. Actually, I believe many brands actually just have this default particular color scheme pretty much just out of the box. And just like the, whoops, this actually does move here. This handrest is actually held by magnet. So when you do move it, it tends to come off occasionally, but not a big deal. No clips or anything underneath to get this to go back in. Wonderful keyboard here. You've probably seen my review already of the ROCCAT 122, and the model numbers are different, just basically the color scheme, the color of the keyboard itself, and everything else is just different. So here's one I'm actually using for home use. The other one I'm actually using in a workplace setting. And I have to tell you, after using this keyboard for a little while now already, absolutely pretty amazed with the functionality and the feel of these keycaps. These particular low profile keycaps, pretty unique in the keyboard. It does actually allow the colors to pretty much show off a little bit better. You can actually see. It shines right through and more around as well too. So if you're actually into the LED colors, brightness quite a bit, this keyboard definitely will not let you down. At the moment, just have the default color scheme pretty much that comes out of the box set already, but you can actually customize each key to have a particular color, particular scheme as well too. So usually what I actually do to this particular keyboard is just have the arrow keys just lit up and everything else completely dark, or the entire keyboard set to some blue setting that basically matches the inside of my mouse over here and also the inside LED lights of my computer. Go ahead and give you a slightly closer view of this keyboard here. Pretty amazing. A couple of little options up here, the mute button, the FX mode here, and this is basically your volume knob right over here. This basically unmutes the sound if it's actually on. There is an option to disable the start button over here. You basically just have to hit your FN lock key and then the scroll button right over here. And you'll see that this particular option is over here. So your stop button is now disabled. Just a little FYI over here in case you were wondering if that's a deal breaker for you. Particularly if this is going to be a gaming keyboard, this key getting in your way is a real disaster. So you do have the ability to turn that off. Over here as well too, you do have the indicator lights for your caps lock, num lock, scroll lock, and there's also the game mode option over here, which some keyboards actually have been removing these for whatever reason. Obviously laptops is a different story, but when the keyboard actually does have that gone, those can be a little bit troublesome to actually tell if your caps lock in particular is on or not, and that's definitely not the case here. You also have these particular little stands back here, two in the rear, which is pretty common, and also the rubber underneath, so this thing doesn't slide on your desk. Pretty unique to this particular keyboard. It's pretty extensive over here. You can actually see it pretty much goes all across as opposed to just the end points over here. And of course you have one over here and one over here where the stands are. One particular down to this keyboard here is there's actually no USB port or USB pass-through over here that you can use. My former Corsair keyboard, the K70 RGB, actually does have one, but it's actually an additional USB cable connection that you have to use on your computer, since it basically the cable from the keyboard splits into two. Since this keyboard doesn't have one, you'll only be using one USB port, but just something to keep in mind in case you definitely do treasure that particular option. Personally, it's pretty useful, but with all the front USB ports that computers have nowadays, particularly the one I built over here, it was an option that I actually never even used myself, to be honest, but definitely something to keep in mind, just in case that's a deal breaker for you. Other than some mechanics of the keyboard I just mentioned, let's go ahead and just play with the colors over here. This is the fully lit blue color setting. that I mentioned that I usually have it in. And see just basically your blue color. Some of it might be a little bit purple because the LED lights are a little bit on the side. And let's go ahead and pick out this snake option over here. You can definitely see how cool that is. You can actually control the speed of that, so I can actually make it even faster. Many different options you have here under each particular color scheme and light scheme as well too. So here we have a heartbeat. There's actually a pretty common usage on a mouse, not really a keyboard so much. I can actually see this cane a little bit annoying, to be honest, but it's pretty much there. And you do have the breathing, another popular option for particular mice. This one actually looks pretty interesting. And here we have a Fade X. I believe this is triggered by hitting keys. You can actually see that. And yes, if you do keep it pressed, the color remains there quite often, so for a little while. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, the ripple effect, which is triggered in the same fashion, but it's triggered to show basically this, which is actually pretty amazing. I can actually see this being entertaining in a workplace. Get a couple of oohs and ahs. And of course, we do have the custom color option that I just mentioned here. I'm actually just going to go ahead and have these keys lit. You can just see here. And I only leave these on just for gaming in the dark. So this is basically my up, down, left, and strafy left, strafy right. I do not use the WASD keys to move up, forward, and all that good stuff. I use these keyboards. I'm pretty much old-fashioned, which can be a little bit annoying because sometimes you just have to move your keyboard a little bit here to kind of get the center feeling of it, since this keys are a little bit more geared to the right. And of course, all those options are available here with the Roccat Swarm software. I actually made it full screen just so you can see it a little better, hopefully. And you see here, this is basically where you select your lighting system. Right over here. Here we have the wave option. Just go ahead and apply it. Those are still thinking. And poof, it is basically following what you see on the screen. A couple of more options here as well too under the general features. Some sound feedback when you're typing or some other sounds as well too. Character repeat options here, which will be helpful as well too. Key assignments as well too. Right over here, some options for macros and whatnot. Other multimedia buttons and internet buttons such as back, forward, play, stop. Some keyboards actually in the past did actually have those options, particularly Logitech keyboards with stop, next, track buttons. And you can actually set stuff up to be on this keyboard as well too in a very similar fashion. Down the bottom, you actually do have the option to save a couple of game profiles depending which game you're playing. So if you actually want to have some crazy style and color scheme for one particular game and then move on to the next, by all means you can actually do that here. You do have the option to add even more profile slots as well too. Here's a couple of more options to assign particular functions to keys. You can actually click on this list view over here, which gives you more of a pretty much detailed and pretty much straightforward way to assign each key over here. Scroll down, you can see pretty much every key pretty imaginable on this keyboard and a particular option and assignment you'd like to go ahead and give it to if you choose to do so as well. And then of course the tab for the key illumination section itself, which I basically just covered just a moment ago. And got the option over here. Let me go ahead and just change it right back to custom mode, which has my little save profile for the 4 keys to be lit down here. And of course, obviously, since this is a Roccat Swarm software, you can actually also see my Kone Aimo mouse as well too. So if you actually do have another Roccat device, pretty recent, you'll be able to manipulate and control all devices under this one piece of software. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of a sound check on this thing. The aluminum frame this keyboard actually has gives it a really nice beauty and professional look, but you can kind of tell there's a little bit of a fingerprint magnet over here. Even though this piece over here is mostly plastic, you can actually still see, doesn't look too appealing. And some of that may actually affect the keyboard itself. Though I have to be honest, it's been somewhat resistant compared to some other keyboards and other aluminum frames I've actually used myself. So not too bad in terms of basically just fingerprinting and cleanup. One big plus with this keyboard and the low profile keys here is actually notice how easy or easier it is to actually clean this keyboard, which can be a little harder when the keys are actually full and kind of blocking the area here. You can actually see it does give you some access here to actually clean this up with a dust blower, or in my case what I like to use is just a regular cheapy brush, like paintbrush from Home Depot or something, usually like $1 or $2, probably $2.50 or so, and just basically just go back and forth between keys and whatnot. Actually, I've noticed that's a pretty good and efficient way to clean out dust and whatnot, but not particularly grime or anything else. With that, you probably have to just clean it up a little bit with a slightly damp paper towel and maybe possibly a little bit of soap, but obviously just be careful not to get water into this thing while it's actually plugged in. I do have some crazy videos where I do wash keyboards, including mechanical keyboards, in another video if you want to actually check that out, or dare to actually check that out. Really happy to finally get my hands on this keyboard, literally, since so far it's actually been an amazing piece of hardware to use. And I do know that Roccat is going to be releasing, if they not already released, a more upgraded version of this keyboard. Not particularly sure of the details, but I believe that keyboard actually does have the potential to be even brighter than this, and obviously a little bit more pricier. So this keyboard will run anywhere between $150 to $160. I have seen some pretty good deals on it. I believe Amazon has actually had it on sale for their Amazon Prime Day thing, but I think if you guys seen a couple of videos prior to this video being posted, you kind of know my opinion on having keyboards like this shipped from them. But if you're lucky, it's a pretty good deal to actually get this keyboard less than $130, $120 even. And nothing too special. Let me just go ahead and show you the box over here. And of course some details on the back. No shipping label stuck on this one, that's for sure. Some pretty good details over here, really gives you the good layout. Also mentioning how it's German design and whatnot. I'm actually going to keep this box. I actually put the tape back on here so it looks almost brand new. And all the illumination options and durability. And I actually do feel this keyboard being really sturdy and really durable so far. A little close up there of the Titan switch. This is a brown switch keyboard again. There's also red available. I decided not to get the red one in this case. Hope you guys enjoyed this video so far, and just let me know if you got any questions, particular options, what this keyboard may have. By all means, I'll be more than happy to... The caps lock doesn't give you that ripple effect. Be more than happy to answer any questions or queries you may have before you get your hands on this keyboard. Or if you already have it, let me know your opinion. Be more than happy to hear about that as well too. Go ahead and shoot a like and subscribe. Let me know. I'll definitely be posting more videos soon as well too. More reviews coming up with AMD releasing their new generation of Ryzen CPUs. I am definitely going to get my hands on some. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Stay safe.